Hello, hello. How's everyone feeling out there? It's been kind of a heavy week. It is currently a moon night and it is a Mercury hour. So technically, if we're going by the calendar, it's Tuesday the 13th. So I just wanted to mention a couple things about last week, which was really interesting. Yeah, there were a lot of aspects being made to Chiron, the wounded healer, and it's also known as a cardinal grand square. So the cardinal energies are the energies that want to take initiative and start things. Those are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. And in every sign, there's a planet that is really expanding and highlighting and exposing the wounds of Chiron. Chiron is in Aries right now at 22 degrees. Jupiter is in Cancer, and the moon was in Libra over the weekend. It's now in Scorpio. And then in Capricorn, there's the sun, of course, and Venus and Mars, and as well as Mercury. Venus and Mars met up with the sun over the past week, so there's like a reset of those energies. Venus is relationships, finances, what we value, harmony, what we attract. Mars is our ambition, how we go after things, our goals, our initiative. And then the sun is highlighting all of those. Mercury's communication, of course. And so all of these conversations that are being had with Chiron is really bringing up those insecurities. And when the moon was in Libra over the weekend, like a Libra moon wants to connect with people and go out to dinner and, have these nice Venusian experiences. But with this square, there's this grand cardinal square. It's like a four-way stop sign, and each energy wants to take initiative and wants to express themselves in some way. And with Chiron in Aries, there's this insecurity or inhibition about showing any sort of vulnerability or having a sense of like maybe imposter syndrome or unworthiness. And it was really interesting over the weekend that this energy was circulating because, it's not anything, of course, that I planned, but just running errands out and about, and I just, decided to pick up some dim sum to take home. And it was a Sunday night, and it was actually really busy at this restaurant, which I wasn't expecting. It was only like 5 or 5:30. I wanted to, I placed an order, and I got one item to eat at the restaurant, and I didn't really have the atmosphere in mind, but it was a packed restaurant, and I was at a table solo, and it was fine. And at the same time, I'm like feeling the energies of this grand cardinal square of, being alone, feeling vulnerable while I'm waiting for my to-go order. And so it was really highlighting the insecurity, vulnerability that I was perceiving from the other people in the restaurant. I mean, thankfully, I eat at restaurants solo. Not all the time, but, just as much as I do with people. They're not usually that packed, not that busy, but it was interesting that it was that busy during a Libra full moon. During a Libra moon. But at the same time, this is this energy that's being introduced to us, I feel like, with this new year. Numerologically, 2026, people are saying is, it reduces down to a 1 number. But if you add up 2, 0, 2, 6, it equals 10. And 1 does represent new beginnings and also individuality and independence. But then also 0 represents the void, endless possibilities, limitlessness, and like a non-separation. So it's like this continuous infinity significance. 0 is both closed and wide open. It's an all-inclusive number. Inclusivity, infinite potential. And so this 1 and 0 is a reminder that we are never alone. Like 0 is also considered to represent spirit. So the 1 would represent us and 0 would represent spirit. So we are always walking with spirit. There's so many layers of the number 10, like the significance of 10. When we walk with spirit, we can access this limitlessness, which is our birthright anyway, as an earth being. I believe this is the year where we can actually see and feel and embody those truths of limitlessness that we are here to experience and that we rightfully deserve as humans. So it was a really interesting experience. Thankfully I've eaten at restaurants before by myself. But the fact that it was a Libra moon, just and with all of the square aspects to Chiron was really highlighting that. And another, I guess, revelation that's starting to surface with these aspects, this configuration, another revelation that's surfacing with these cosmic configurations is the discovery of the Pluto polarity point, which I haven't dived too deep in. I did learn about this through Heather Ensworth, who is an evolutionary astrologer. So this like concept or teaching is based on evolutionary astrology. So gosh, what is his name? Jeffrey Wolf Green. He's got a Pluto book that is supposed to be mind-blowing. So he talks about the polarity point, Pluto polarity point. And for me in my chart, Pluto is in Libra at 13 degrees, and the opposite would, the Pluto polarity point would be Aries 13. And what I have at 13 degrees Aries is Eris, E-R-I-S, the goddess asteroid, who's known traditionally as the goddess of strife and discord. She's the one that threw the apple into the wedding party and had these three other goddesses fight amongst themselves about who would be the fairest of them all. People consider her to be kind of like a rabble rouser, but that is I feel like a patriarchal perspective where, you know, things are stirred up or called out, and it's not comfortable for the person who's being called out, of course. But for Eris to be on my Pluto polarity point, it was kind of this revelation of really discovering how to navigate these situations or scenarios where there's someone in the power position. It's very validating to have this awareness so that I can actually step into that person that calls out those inconsistencies without any shame, and it's all for fairness and equality and transparency. And that is, you know, definitely what I'm all about. My Aquarius moon and Aquarius Mars definitely wants more equality, and yeah, it's like a whole process of being comfortable with calling people out and learning how to do that in such a way that's not so offensive. Yeah, learning how to do this with more grace and charm, especially with my North Node being in Libra, but with Venus also conjunct my South Node. With Venus also opposite my North Node, it makes it kind of tricky. I mean, it's a whole learning process. So the Pluto polarity point is something that's definitely worth checking out and gives you so much more empowerment when you have this awareness of where you're able to hold your stance, like hold your ground when faced with these power struggles. But when I had gotten home, I realized that there was an item that I did not order, which was some pork bao buns, which I don't eat pork or beef. And yeah, it was pretty disappointing because I didn't realize that until after I had bit into the bao bun. And yeah, it wasn't a fun time the next day because I have this sensitivity to pork, having not eaten it in I don't know how many years. But it was this internal debate on whether I call them and ask for a refund or let it slide, or, you know, all these things going on in my head as to how that even happened, because I know I didn't place that order. I had gone to the restaurant and one of the employees took my order. And one thing that was not done was, you know, most restaurants, they repeat each item back to you, so, you know, for accuracy. So I decided to call them and explain the situation, and they tried to tell me that I would have to go back to the restaurant to have my card swiped again. And I think normally I would have been, you know, deflated, and you know, it's not like right next door. But having worked in the restaurant business before, I know that those credit card details can be taken over the phone. And so I calmly asked if, you know, we can try to do this over the phone before going to the restaurant. And so I mean, it was a successful refund, and you know, they were cool about it. I think they were a little less experienced with the way things are handled. I mean, they seem like to be a younger crew of restaurant workers. But yeah, hopefully this was a lesson for definitely myself, so that I know not to just blindly trust that the menu items that I ordered are what is in the bag, but for also them to continue with repeating the items before, the order is placed. So that was me exercising my Eris in Aries, which is conjunct my Pluto polarity point. So it was, a success. It was, everybody won, in my opinion. So it's definitely an empowering feeling to be able to step into that kind of position, especially knowing that your Pluto polarity point is supported by other energies. Like for me, Eris is supporting my polarity point, my Pluto polarity point. So you can have any planet, any energy, any asteroid conjunct the Pluto polarity point, which will give you that much more courage and gumption to exercise your power and exercise what is needed at that moment to balance out the power struggle. And so definitely hit me up if that's something that you want to dive into more. It's a fascinating thing to kind of like break down. And I think it's really important for us to know about these strategies that we have in our chart that is like telling us how to navigate this life with these power struggles. And that just helps us all be more authentic, because when we are more comfortable with, claiming our power, then it ripples out and it allows other people to know that, this is a boundary that you're not allowing to be crossed. So there's a lot more authenticity to be accessed on, both parties. We're going to need as much authenticity as possible going forward, especially with all of these new energies moving into new elements. Like these are definitely action-oriented energies that we're moving into. There's no like pussyfooting around. Like things are going to get done, while at the same time slowing down. Like, I don't know about you, but the past handful of days, maybe even weeks, it's just been really difficult to like do multiple things at one time. I think we are really being asked to slow down and take things one step at a time, and just put things down if the energy is not there. And with all of the upgrades that we are going through behind the scenes that we are not even cognitively aware of, like there's the updates and upgrades that we might be aware of and that we've heard about, with 3i Atlas and all these new planets moving into new energies. Those are shifts and adjustments that we have to get used to, and that's definitely impacting our physical bodies. If it's making an impact on our consciousness, it's making an impact on our physical bodies. And we can, I've also noticed like how many people are going sober now, and they've just, alcohol just doesn't hit them like it used to. And yeah, at some point, alcohol, drugs, like these things that we used to imbibe and partake in, they just don't have that same effect anymore. And we can probably notice it in others where there's such a negative expression of people's personalities when they are belligerent, of course, and we're not putting up with that anymore. Like they need to like kick the habit, or relationships will be challenged, whether it's a marriage or job or whatever the case may be. So with these upgrades, we're really being asked to slow down, and it's better to, it's best to just heed your body's signals rather than pushing through and pretending that we can still be doing the same things that we were doing 5 years ago. Like that's definitely not the case anymore. And going into the next month is going to be a huge shift with Neptune moving into Aries on the 20th of January. And like for me, that kind of energy is like this discipline and strengthening of spiritual protection. And we can see how there's so many people who are, doubting the news and doubting all of the images that are being projected on the screen. Like, we're not taking it anymore. Aries is also the energy of fitness too. So in order to really take care of our spiritual protection, we're going to have to take care of the vessel that holds the soul, our bodies. And so that could mean saying no to a lot of the previous things that we used to enjoy without knowing their side effects. And so instead of listening to the traditional medical system and having this better understanding of how they operate, and knowing that they're not educated in nutrition, and nutrition, or like whole foods, natural foods, are what actually heals us I mean, animals in the wild are able to live healthy lives. They don't have heart attacks, they don't have diabetes. They eat whole foods, whatever it might be, whether they're carnivores or vegetarians. They eat whole, unprocessed, non-GMO foods in the wilderness. And so that's kind of the understanding that we're coming to now. And hopefully we are able to get rid of the processed food that is being sold to us in these big box grocery stores. And yeah, that's just going to be more common knowledge now. Like, we're overdue for this kind of knowledge. And I mean, it's not anybody's fault. This kind of information has been censored for so many years, and the doctors and the people who are trying to expose and like blow the whistle and help us understand the difference between what's being sold to us in the grocery stores and what is actual food that is healthy for us. You know, those people have been censored or banned or shamed in some way so that information doesn't get to us. There's so many underhanded practices that are not being checked. There's so many practices that are not being checked, and now is a time that is going to end, because we got Pluto trine Uranus in air signs is going to rewrite these history books. It's going to rewrite the medical system, teachings, the educational system. So all of this information is going to be combed like with a fine tooth, and anything that is toxic or harmful to our bodies that we have been lied to about is going to be uprooted. So yeah, with Neptune moving into Aries and then Saturn moving into Aries also in February 13th is when Saturn moves into Aries, and then Saturn and Neptune conjuncts on the 20th of February at 0 degrees and 44 minutes. So that's going to be the biggest reset of our generation, like past generations to come. Like, this hasn't happened in over 6,000 years, according to Heather Ensworth. So this is monumental, and yeah, what a time to be aligned. So yeah, I just wanted to mention those couple things. If you're feeling heavy, if you're feeling like, you're not able to do the things that you've been doing the past few years, past few months, and you're not alone. Like, there's also this impetus to create something that you align with that will be more fulfilling for your soul, but also lucrative. And that can come in a lot of different ways, whether it's passive income or trading, something that will, if you put your soul into it, it will manifest its own value and gifts. So it's definitely something to sit with, and at the same time, like, in order to do that, it's important to tune out any distractions and any influences. It also is helpful to get some insight into your blueprint so that you can kind of get some direction on what those kind of skills might look like. And you might even already have these ideas in your head, but the gift of astrology is getting that validation on those intuitive hits that you've been feeling for so long. And it could be, what your skills are, where you want to move. It could be anything. So yeah, hopefully that is helpful. Hopefully that makes sense. Just know that, this path that we are currently on is definitely going to exceed our expectations. And so it's not going to come without any upheavals. This is a huge change. Venus and Mars have just gone through a reset with the sun. Whenever the sun connects with a planet, it's like a reset. It's considered a synodic cycle of that particular planet and those energies. And so with Venus still in the underworld at the moment, and Venus is considered to be under the beams or combust until I think it's March 9th, I want to say, during her heliacal rise, when she actually peaks above the horizon. And by then she will have some distance from the sun so that you can actually see her in the sky. So yeah, March 1st is Venus's heliacal rise, and then March 19th she will be conjunct the moon. March 19th Venus and the moon will be conjunct in the sky. So that'll happen right around the midweek of each month. So that's something to look forward to. So that will be a Venus in Pisces, and that'll be the rebirth of Venus, where she's a lot more empowered and in the sign of Pisces, the gifts that she's going to be able to embody will be those gifts of Pisces: oneness, spirituality, energetic attunement, so that intuition can be a lot sharper from here on out, actually. So it's going to be much needed going forward, and energies that are still trying to hold on to their power and control everything as they've done the past 2,000 years are going to fall away, like we are vibrating out of this patriarchal paradigm. And that's happening simultaneously with the strengthening of our intuition, because we know, we're sensing the bullshit. We can smell the bullshit from a mile away, from 10 miles away, and not give it our attention anymore. And so when we don't give our power away and we don't give attention to what we don't want more of, then it fades away. So yeah, hopefully that helps. And same with Mars. Mars has his own mythology as well. I'll have to take a look at when Mars is able to be seen in the night sky again. But while Venus is in the underworld, she's not able to be seen. So the gifts of Venus is not able to be fully expressed until March 1st. So this is going to be a period where our finances, our relationships, our values are being tested, and they're in this adjustment period. And so that's not always a pretty process. During this process, something has to be released, let go of, sacrificed. But it's all to make room for the gifts of what is to come. So it's an exciting time to be aligned. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully that made sense. And definitely hit me up so that we can unfold those layers of your birth chart, because it's definitely, a tool that we have been given so that we can be self-guided. This is the time. So yeah, thanks for sticking around. Stay grounded, stay centered, stay hydrated, and hope to see you on the next one.